Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with a review of the Mystic Dragon Zord and Green Ranger from Power Rangers Super Megaforce. So these are the first of the auxiliary Zords to be released for Super Megaforce, obviously, and if you don't know, they are pretty much all tribute Zords for various series, this one obviously coming from Mystic Force. So I wanted to go over the box on these because they're really neat packages. In the past few years we've gotten some really cool box art. It started, I believe, with Samurai with the, it was like a tiger tank thing, and then last year we had like the Lion Zord and the Gosei Jet. But we got them this year on the individual sort of smaller mecha, which is really cool. It's mainly a toy pick for this with Mystic Dragon, but still it's a really neat way of boxing it, sort of having him in the city. It comes with the Ranger key, it comes with the Mystic Force Red Ranger key, Mystic Force logo down there, obviously its name's down there. Shows you the crap Green Ranger figure you get, and then on the top it shows you a picture of a bunch of the Red Rangers. On the side it shows you how the key works, picture of Super Megaforce Green on the side, and then on the back it shows you what your toy can do, as well as how it works with other things in the line. So I just wanted to show that to get out of the way. The box will likely disappear shortly after I start doing the Zord. So here is the Decapitated Zord, which we'll be showing in a minute, and here is the figure. And we are first actually going to go over the Ranger key, which is right here, because I don't want to forget about it. It is the Mystic Force Red Ranger key. We already got one of these in a key set. I guess it depends on which order you found stuff in. But here are the two together. You can see there's a little bit of differences in the color, but there's really not that big of a difference going on. The head still looks kind of funny. It looks like a spider the way his helmet's done, and all that stuff. And then here he is real quick, in case you didn't see the review, next to the Japanese counterpart. And the Japanese counterpart did not come with a Ranger key, so that's worth noting. So let's go ahead and show off its sounds in the Legendary Morpher. So. Mystic Force. Same communicator beeps. Oh boy. Alright, so now we got that out of the way, we can continue. Sorry if it seems we're a bit high up, but we're going to be using some taller Zords later, so I thought it made more sense. So, just like all the previous years... Get out of the way, Dragon. No, just like all the previous years, we get a Ranger figure to ride on top of it, and they're usually pretty terrible, but these are definitely the worst. It's like they get worse every year. If I recall, the Samurai ones weren't that terrible compared to this. The Mystic Force Megaforce ones were part of cycle figures and they were kind of different and they weren't the greatest, but these are terrible. The paint is obviously, you can tell, horrid. He's basically got it here on his chest a little bit and then for his visor, and then everything else is pretty much solid green. Terrible, no articulation. You got pegs on the bottom where you can ride the Zord, but this is pretty much inexcusable. Since I'm not buying any of the other ones, it's a good time to talk about it, but these are pretty much what the figures look like for the bikes, which is really annoying because the bike figures actually used to be pretty decent for PR, whether it was like the old school Zeo Turbo ones or like later on like Lightspeed. I bought my first Lightspeed figure in the cycle set because it was pretty much the same figure as the default red Lightspeed Ranger, except with no lights. So even though the line is aimed for kids, if I was a kid I wouldn't want this. I mean, you have to have a little bit of pride in your presentation. These figures are terrible and they should stop. Especially since like some of the other stuff they produce, like Ben 10, has really nice cycle figures that are actually unique to that. I mean, sure, they don't have articulation, but they're still unique to that. Anyhow, so here I have the Mystic Dragon. The reason I have him all closed up is because he does have a sort of gimmick with the Ranger key. When you get him, he's in a few different pieces, which is this main piece, and then these two claw pieces, or it's a tail, but they're claws too. That you kind of snap around him, and then these wing pieces that you snap on top. Very simple, very self-explanatory when you get it. But there is a little slot on top here, and if you just press the key in, then his head will pop out, and you'll saw that the wings moved. And once you fold his little ears up so he looks normal, the other gimmick, just continuing from that, is just by pressing the key, you can flap his wings. So that's like seconds of fun. I like the idea of giving the Zords functionality with the keys to sort of even further expand the key line. I think it was neat, but I think it could have been done a little better, like maybe including a turn gimmick maybe, so that, I don't know, like the wings in the Japanese version, which I'll show in a minute, folded up. Maybe they could have included, you know, the fact that the wings is folded up and when you unlock it, fully, you know, unlocks. So it's neat that they tried, but just being a press is kind of strange. So yeah, but still, a good idea, and they have implemented in quite a few things. So let me just get this set here. So the Mystic Dragon, I think, is easily my least favorite of the three Zords we've gotten. Not necessarily my least favorite of them in the show, but just in terms of toy form. I mean, he looks okay. He's pretty small. The details are pretty lacking. There's not a whole lot to him in the first place, but he's pretty basic. I mean, you pretty much have primarily black and red plastic with a couple red eye details and stuff. He's inaccurate because this is not the way his tail is supposed to be, which I will show off in a minute. It's not supposed to have the claws gripping him like that. It's supposed to go farther back. And like I said, his wings in the other version did fold up. And all he can really do in this mold is that pop-out thing, which is something I'm glad they kept from the Japanese version in a sense, because that was part of the fun of Mystic Dragon or Maji Dragon. So yeah, there's really not a whole lot you can do in this mode, except looked okay. He pretty much does his job. Let me pan out a little bit, just to bring, here we have Maji Dragon. Oh, he just hit the wall. Maji Dragon, the Japanese version. There's an obvious size difference here. Now, Maji Dragon is absolutely nothing that special. He's not the most beautifully designed mech ever, but you can still see that there's an obvious difference. Here's how the tail is supposed to be. I don't know. I guess it's just an engineering choice, but it's definitely not the way it's supposed to be. He really doesn't do anything special. Like I said, he doesn't come with a Ranger key. His head also folds in, and his wings fold down, which is a feature of transformation, but I feel like they could have done something with that. But other than that, than just looking better, that's pretty much what he does. But yeah, that's about it for that. So now, like I said, we're going to get the box out of the way, because we are now going to be combining him with the Legendary Megazord, which we have right here. It's very simple, actually. And I meant to get rid of the swords, actually, so excuse me, this 5 seconds of taking the swords out, it's going to just eat away at this review. So let me get those out of the way. So to do this, you're pretty much going to dismantle him. Take off his wings, and then take these pieces off here. So I guess we'll do the wings first. So you'll see there's a little peg hole here, and right down here you can fold down the Zord builder port right there, and just place it. And then you want to make sure that this snaps back so it stays in place, otherwise they'll be flopping all over the place. So there's a Zord builder plug right there, and you can fit it in here with this one without pulling down the flap. I found more so than the other ones, but ideally with this and then other Zords later, you're going to want to fold that back just to get a tighter grip on it. But for whatever reason, this one's more secure like that sometimes. I don't know. So for the legs here, just fold these down, and they are going to go right here, and then make sure you fold this down so it touches the ground pretty much. Same deal here. Snap it onto the Zord builder, fold it down, and then for this, you can use whatever key you want to open this. I think you can get it open without it, but it's just easier to show it like that. And then take the dragon and fold him back into himself. Damn it. Fold him back into himself very simply, which is not simple. There we go. And then, hold on. Let me get this prepped and ready. There we go. Okay, and then snap it in. Make sure it's in right. And then you can fold this back up and take the key back in. If I can get it in there. There you go. And then, let me pan up a bit. When you fold it out, there you go. That was exciting. The dragon will pop out. Of course, you're going to have to readjust his head so that his ears are up and he looks a little normal. But so there you have what I guess I will call the Legendary Megazord with Mystic Force power. There's some things I like about it and some things I don't. The wings look a little bland compared to what it's supposed to look like, and the dragon head looks a little small, but it's not that bad. I want to put this in, put that away. But one thing that's kind of neat about the American version is the legs. The fact that the dragon feet actually drape all the way down here is a bit more show accurate. Now for the show and for the Japanese version, these flaps all open, and I'll show that just in a moment, and they all flap out like this, like a dragon, which is arguably one of the neater things about it. So it takes away from that, but I do like that the legs are a little more accurate. But so let me just go ahead and quickly bring in Maji Gokai-oh. Alright, there we got Maji Gokai-oh. What? He looks like regular Gokai-oh? You don't say. So this might be a smidge hard to show because I have to reach around behind him. But you might not be able to see the legs very well, but bam! That's what the gimmick was like in the Japanese version. Now, I said in my Legendary Megazord review that the pop-out gimmick wasn't one of my favorite things, but with this, I think this was probably the most, or one of the most neat ways of using it. Just because you got to see the wings pop out and the head pop out. So even though the head pops out on this one, you do lose a bit of that. So I can see that being a bit disappointing, because that was pretty neat. And then, other than that, the only real difference is the wings and the fact that the legs are a little bit smaller and the flaps refuse to close. But positives of the American side, like I said, legs are accurate and you don't have all these flaps sticking out here, you know, for the Zords. But so overall, Maji Dragon, or the Mystic Dragon, is probably my least favorite of the bunch. But if you already have a Legendary Megazord, just go ahead and get it, because it gets the job done fine. But if you're being selective, I would possibly pick up one of the other ones. I'm a little bit disappointed with it. I really don't find that much appealing about it. I think it loses a bit of its fun factor that made me like Maji Dragon. But yeah, if you're already decided to collect the American versions, then it gets the job done just fine. But yeah, just a little bit disappointing. But anyway, that's about it. Till next time, make sure to check out the Crazy Podcast at writersrangersrambles.com. Till next time, it's Awesome Writer, signing out.